Sam Darry is quickly becoming one of the most exciting young forwards in New Zealand rugby, and what makes it so dangerous for the rest of the rugby world is that he's only just getting started. While much of the focus has been on established names in the All Blacks pack, Darry has been quietly building through one thing: performances. No hype, no big headlines, just consistent growth. And when you look at how fast he's risen and what he's already achieved, it's easy to see why many people could see him as the next All Blacks great lock. But what makes his rise even more impressive isn't just where he is now, it's the journey that got him here. Before professional rugby, Darry's athletic profile was already standing out. Born in 2000 in Christchurch, New Zealand, and educated at Christ College, he developed into one of the country's most highly rated young forwards during his school years. But rugby wasn't his only focus. One of the biggest things that shaped his physical development was rowing. He was part of Christ College Māori Cup winning rowing crew, and that's the detail a lot of people overlook. Rowing builds an engine unlike almost any other sport. It develops endurance, explosive lead drive, discipline, and mental resilience. For a lock, those qualities are gold. It's no surprise that so many elite forwards have rowing backgrounds because it directly translates into the rugby's physical demands. Darry also captained the Christ College First 15, showing leadership qualities early, and that's often a sign of what coaches see beyond just physical talent. Leadership at schoolboy rugby level doesn't guarantee professional success, but it usually tells you there's rugby brain in there too. The rugby IQ became obvious when he moved through the representative system. Darry was selected for the New Zealand secondary schools and later earned Canterbury Under-19 Player of the Year honours, marking him as one of the country's best young prospects. Canterbury's pathway systems has produced some of New Zealand's rugby's best forwards over the years, and standing out there is no small achievement. By 2020, he had made his provincial debut for Canterbury in the NPC, which was his first real taste of senior rugby, and it didn't take long for people to notice that his game was translating. Some players dominate school rugby, but struggle when the game speeds up and the collisions get heavier. Darry didn't have the problem. His frame, athleticism, and technical ability allowed him to adjust quickly, and that's one of the first major indicators of a future test level potential. Then came the move that really changed everything. In 2021, Darry joined the Blues setup, stepping into one of the most competitive forward environments in Super Rugby. At first, he was learning, but that's normal. The Blues have established internationals and experienced leaders, and for a young lock, that environment can either crush you or accelerate your development. For Darry, it did the second. Training alongside experienced forwards like Patrick Tuipulotu gave him a front row seat to what elite professionalism looks like. You can't fake that kind of education. Day after day, season after season, Darry was absorbing what it took to become an international level forward. And over time, the opportunities started to come. His role at the Blues grew steadily. He wasn't just there to make up numbers anymore. He became trusted. That's huge in professional rugby because coaches don't hand minutes out for free, where every decision affects the game physically and tactically. By the 2024 Super Rugby season, Darry had become an important part of the Blues pack. Across his career with the Blues, he's built over 30 appearances and contributed points as well, which is notable for a lock. Locks aren't judged by tries, but when they're scoring, it usually means they're heavily involved in the right areas, supporting, carrying, staying connected to the attacking shape. That kind of involvement is what separates average forwards from elite ones. And when you watch Sam Darry play, the first thing you notice is his mobility. At 203 centimetres tall, he's got the height every coach wants in a lock, especially for line-out dominance. But height alone means nothing if you can't move. Rugby has changed. The old-school giant enforcer who just punches scrums and jumps in line-outs isn't enough anymore. Modern locks have to cover huge ground. They have to defend their wider channels, clean breakdowns, carry hard, and recover quickly. Darry does all of that. His mobility is one of the biggest strengths. He moves like a back rower in many moments, and that creates value because it means he's involved more often. Then there's the line-out ability. At test level, line-outs can decide games. Winning your own ball is one thing, but stealing opposition ball is another. Darry's height and timing makes him a serious weapon in this area. Timing is everything. Plenty of tall players struggle because they can't read movement or coordinate lifters properly. Darry has shown strong timing and awareness, which makes him reliable, and reliability is everything for coaches. If a coach trusts you in the line-out, your value rises instantly. That trust became even clearer when the All Blacks selectors came calling. In 2024, Sam Darry made his All Blacks debut against Fiji. That's the dream moment for any New Zealand rugby player, but it also represents something bigger. The All Blacks don't just hand out caps because someone looks promising. They cap players because they believe they can contribute now. That's what makes Darry's selection significant. He wasn't brought on as a project. He was brought in because the coaches saw immediate value in what he could offer, and he backed that up quickly. Not long after his debut, he scored his first try against Argentina, another sign of his growing involvement at the highest level. The early test exposure matters because international rugby exposes weaknesses fast. If you're not physically ready, mentally or tactically, it shows immediately. Darry has already shown he belongs. Through the first handful of test caps, he's looked comfortable in the environment. That doesn't mean he's finished developing, far from it. But what it does mean is the foundation is strong, and the foundation is what excites people. One of the biggest strengths in Darry's game is his work rate. Watch his involvement and you'll see it. He's constantly moving, constantly clearing rucks, and constantly getting into position. Work rate doesn't always show up in highlight clips, but coaches love it because it wins games. A player who can maintain intensity across 80 minutes becomes incredibly valuable. And in Darry's case, the engine likely links back to his rowing background. That endurance base is obvious. Defensively, Darry also offers a lot. Locks are the spine of defensive systems. If your locks aren't making tackles and filling spaces properly, your defensive lines get exposed. Darry has shown strong defensive discipline. He understands spacing, folds quickly around the corner and stays connected. That rugby intelligence is something that often takes years to develop. The fact he's showing up early is a strong sign. His ball carrying is another underrated part of his game. He's not the heaviest lock in New Zealand rugby, but he carries it with intent. There's a difference between carrying to survive contact and carrying to win it. Darry attacks contact with purpose. That matters because momentum wins territory and territory wins pressure. Pressure wins test matches. When people compare him to past All Black locks, the names are interesting. Sam Whitelock is the obvious leadership and line-up comparison. Whitelock built his greatness on detail, consistency, and rugby IQ. Darry has shades of that in how he approaches his work. Brodie Retallick is the mobility comparison. Retallick's ability to be everywhere, carry hard, and create chaos was unique. And Darry has some of those traits in his movements and his work rate. Patrick Tuipulotu offers the size benchmark. Darry doesn't have the same raw mass, but he offers more mobility. That's what makes his rise so compelling. He's not just a talented young player, he's already proving he can perform at every level he reaches. Schoolboy rugby, provincial rugby, super rugby, test rugby. Every time the level has gone up, Darry has found a way to keep climbing. And if the trajectory continues the way it has so far, Sam Darry might not just become a good All Black lock, he could become one of the greatest All Blacks of the next generation. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share and subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Do you think Sam Darry is the future of the All Black second row? Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time. Peace!